your audience. All right, so this is the third one. And this is kind of important, but it's also, I feel like, the hardest for musicians because it doesn't have to do with yourself. It's like the one thing you have to remove yourself from to kind of understand. So an audience, when I'm talking about audience, is who's listening. So what kind of genre are you? What genres do you fit in? And I know a lot of people want to say, oh, I don't really fit into a certain genre, or it's like I'm kind of like in between here and here. When you're working with music metadata, it has to fit somewhere. So you want to find like an actual genre that you most relate to. Similar artists, we just did that, but this is a good way to kind of understand what kind of people are listening to your music. Lifestyle. For the people who are listening, what do they do? So let's think of, I don't know, Joji's like the easiest one for me. So let's think of Joji. He makes sad boy music. What's the general consensus on Joji fans? Like mostly, I'm thinking e-boys who just sit in the dark with their hoodie on, right? And they're just vibing. So like, what are those people? What are they like? What do they like? Are there more people that like Joji? Like, what kind of things do they do? That's what I mean by lifestyle. So, and the last one is your identity. So who, and what I mean by that is most likely if you have, people will want to listen to you if they relate to you. So if they have something in common with you, then it's a lot easier to connect on an emotional level and also allow them to stream your music more. So let's say, I know a lot of people in hyperpop, a lot of the producers on there are trans, or they're part of the LGBT community. And it's a really good place for other people who kind of feel marginalized because of that to kind of relate, or at least connect with their with the artists in that genre a little bit better. So how are we reaching those people that we just talked about? And that is through marketing, the devil that is marketing. So we have these 4 different ways of kind of marketing yourself. I'm sure there are way more, but I only could think of 4 at the time. So we have social media, we have community, and we have ads. So when we're thinking of social media, so we have all these social media tools, and yes, LinkedIn is a social media tool that you can use to promote your music. Do we as artists and creatives want to be an expert on all of these social media platforms with all their individual algorithms? No, we don't. I hate it. This is like the worst part of my job, is having to promote myself on Instagram, and for Instagram not work the same way that Twitter does, and Twitter doesn't work the same way as TikTok does, or YouTube, or whatever. So what I recommend, even some of you may be a little bit more savvy than I am. For reference, I'm 26 years old, so I'm way closer to being a boomer here. But I would recommend focusing on a couple of these, or like a handful of these. So I only wrote down the ones that I have worked in, except LinkedIn. I didn't work in LinkedIn, but I've used all, like, from Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, SoundCloud, Twitch, and Facebook. I've used those. LinkedIn I've used to try and connect with industry people, people that work in labels and stuff like that. Of course, there are more, but you want to dedicate your time on developing your social media platforms, and you don't want to spread yourself way too thin. Social media is a really good place where you can just burn out and then just give up, because it's just built like that. You can just spend all of your time on scrolling on TikTok or scrolling on these social media feeds, and then just be tired of consuming and then having to post also, and watching the numbers not go up could be really a self-defeating process. So social media is a good way, with caution. Yeah, SoundCloud I put in there because it does have comment sections and DMs. SoundCloud is actually how I got started. So being able to contact people, contact producers and other artists through SoundCloud and comment on their stuff, them noticing me and then listening to my stuff, was a really good asset for me to like kickstart my career. Yeah. Joining a community. So this one's pretty straightforward, but the easiest way to kind of find supporters is being friends with other artists and other musicians and producers, because they know the struggle. They want you to listen to their stuff. And if they like your stuff, they're going to be the greatest supporters, because they're the ones that are going to give you opportunities. They're the ones that are going to be pushing you to other people. Limbo, I talked in the beginning, when I met her, she was at 14,000 followers. Now she has over 1 million monthly listeners. She put me on the map. That's like straight up, she put me on the map with because she wanted to feature on one of my songs. So knowing your so like this group here, also this a group of people that came to this meeting, is probably a good place to start a community as well. Musicians Club is a community, just to find people that that are like-minded, that kind of want to work with you, even though they're not big now. You guys can grow together, and be big because of each other. So these are some other different other community examples. Discord has been pretty good recently for building communities, because it's an isolated group and you can just directly talk to them, or talk to like different people. Our Kanye West was where Brockhampton met. The Kenny Beats Discord server is where a lot of producers are getting picked up by labels. SoundCloud comment sections. I mean, this is how emo trap kind of like popped off. XXX popped off because of SoundCloud. Twitter interactions. I mean, recently there's a who was it? The Count. I don't know if guys know The Count, but they do like acoustic like dusty beats. They do it real time. They post on Twitter all the time, and every time they post on Twitter, it goes viral. And I put something in real life just to remind myself what we actually don't live in the internet. We have real lives and we can meet real people, and having a group of people that you can actually go see, that's actually really valuable too. Next, building a community. This is a good way to interact with your fans. So people who just listen to your music and just want to support you. I've done this by building a Discord server where people can just come, we just talk about random things, and then I'll let them know when I'm streaming, when I got new music coming out. And if people want to talk about their day, we can just talk about their day. It's a good way to reinforce that you and your fans aren't that far apart. You want to be pretty close with your fans so that they don't think, so that they build a better relationship with you and your music. Yeah. Oh, shoot. Wow, I just went off and didn't even. How is my Twitch experience? Did I utilize the platform as a musician? I'm still on Twitch, so Twitch is a whole different ball game. That's why I'm saying you got to commit yourself to certain social media. So Twitch success is non-existent. That's what I'm going to say out there. But it's a good way to kind of put yourself in the zone to work, um, in a way that like helps you later monetize. So what I'm doing is that I'm recording my Twitch streams. I'm making beats while I'm streaming. So I'm working while I'm streaming. People come in and they get excited about the stuff that I'm making. So that's added promotion for you. After I complete it, I condense everything into highlights. That's Twitter content, that's TikTok content, that's Instagram content. And then if I make it longer, I can also put it on YouTube for YouTube content. And yeah, it's just finding a way so that everything kind of works for you. Twitch is different because there's no growth in Twitch. People come from outside to come in. They don't come in from Twitch. Then Twitch doesn't do anything to push your streams. So you want people to get interested. If you want to be more of a streamer, you want to get them interested on YouTube and say, oh, Naomi highlights. And they're like, oh shit, they make really good beats on Twitch. And then they go on Twitch and they find you. And that's a way to kind of convert into Twitch, from Twitch to money in your pocket. Oh, what's my Twitch? It's Keepitinside. I usually stream on Wednesdays in the morning, and I'll usually tweet about it and everything. But yeah, I'll talk more about me later. Ads. So this is the last thing that I'll talk about in terms of marketing. So this is for people you can't reach because you haven't met them or they haven't followed you for some reason. You can't somehow like talk to them. You want to make ads so that potential listeners can see your music and be like, okay, yeah, they actually sound good. I'll give them a listen. You also can use ads to let your fan base who already listen to your music make sure that they actually do listen to your music. Timing is very key in when you release a song. I won't go into that, but when you release music and you run an ad in the beginning of your release, it could really boost the algorithm on Spotify. Ads is also a great tool so you can find out who's listening to your music. So we were talking about in the beginning, like what kind of lifestyle does your audience lead? I recently watched a video. If you like watching music marketing videos, Patrick CC is pretty good, where he just experiments on a whole bunch of stuff. I'll write it in the chat. Patrick CC. So they just go around, they talk to someone who ran ads for an artist named Zach Greer. And they found out that the people that listen to his music like beauty products. So it's strange, but it's a good way to say, okay, they like beauty products, so I can pitch my song to people on YouTube that do like makeup, their makeup gurus and stuff, so that they can use it on the back of their YouTube videos. And then people will be like, oh, what song is that? And then you see where I'm going? Like everything is starting to connect. Finding people who or knowing who listens to your music is that important. So then more people can so you can find more people within that demographic and they're more likely to like your songs. All right, so let's move on. All right, so now a little bit of time here. Sheesh, this is taking a long time. We'll take a little bit of time. Won't be that long, but which social media platforms will you be using the most? What communities do you think you could be a part of? All right. Do you think it's possible to strike a balance between not putting ourselves too far out there, but also trying to get your message out? Can we get Ryan on the mic? Are you okay being on the mic? Because I want you to elaborate if possible.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
Yeah. Could you elaborate your question?
Yeah, I guess I just like am not comfortable with throwing myself all over Instagram and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But I also feel like it would be good for people to hear some of the things that I have to say.
Oh, okay. So Limbo, the artist that I worked with before, she wears a mask. And I know like sometimes it's a bit like, I don't want to say cringe, but sometimes I think Marshmello is pretty cringe.
Mm.
But Limbo wears a mask, but she still like really loves to use her platform for positivity. She supports animal rights on all these different things. She uses her Instagram. If you want to check out her Instagram, it's Limbo, and you can kind of look at how she does her Instagram posts. You can definitely do that. There's a lot of people who don't want to show their face. Basically they don't want to show their face and want to try to keep their identity a secret, and it works. It actually helps a little bit because the mask is consistent. And you could also look at MF Doom, even though MF Doom is not everybody. Well, he's not really shy with showing what he actually looks like, but the mask itself, when you're performing, he's performing, he doesn't like who's under the mask, right? So it works. Oh yeah, Corpse Husband, definitely. He's an enigma. And also Dream, Minecraft boy Dream. So you can build an empire with no face.